Yeah, hey everybody, this is Ian from Mindful Marketplace, and this is a quick overview of a short course that I taught over the weekend for folks who are looking to write their first business book in the summer of 2021. Our next cohort opens in August. I think it's August 10th, 2021. I'm recording this on the 26th of July. So these are some really simple, short rules and heuristics that'll help you publish a book that actually makes you money. All right, so here we go. Your book is a bridge. Most important rule, and it goes first. A bridge book introduces an idea that invites or inspires an experience, preferably both. You want your book to introduce an idea that makes your reader or a portion of your readers want to actually go on a journey with you outside of the confines of the book. You want to offer an end experience, a movement, a course, a platform, a community, a coaching offer, whatever it is that you do in the world. Your book introduces by dint of your words, introduces your work to a audience of folks who you want actually to become part of your client community. All right, so I'm not going to overstate this here, but your book is a bridge. That's the most important thing to keep in mind. Your endless outline is the enemy. Instead, what you really need is what I call a content cornerstone, which is a master document of all of your niche knowledge and industry expertise in one place. It's written in a very specific way with silos and structure to it, so you don't feel like you have to cram everything you know into a single book. And most of the people that I see who are very smart but are struggling to write a book and often will tell me, they've been working on their book for 10 years or, 5 years, like that's a badge of honor or, reflecting of some great significance. It's really not. It just shows that it's almost always people who are outlining their book in this kind of endless way, what we call the endless outline, which is the antithesis of actually getting something published. All right, so content cornerstone, not outline. All right, the four T's, really, really simple. Title, type, target, and transformation. Title, I mean, these are pretty self-explanatory. Title is the title of your book, the type of book it is, the target audience that you're after, and the transformation that you bring to this target audience, again, by dint of them either reading the book or it joining you on this journey, you going through this end experience event or course or community or platform or mission, whatever it is that you ultimately want people to do with you when they're done your book. All right, the differentiation declaration. This is done in tandem with the four T's. So essentially, you say this phrase, unlike other books on my topic, when you are finished with this, you'll have the one single skill you need to succeed. Whatever makes you different, whatever your secret sauce is, your unique selling proposition is, it needs to be bundled in the book in a way that can be articulated in a unlike other statement. Unlike everyone else, dot, 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 this is what you'll get when you come with me or read my book or whatever it is that you want to actually enjoin people to do with you, whether it's a book or anything else in business life. All right, transformation turnstile, really said succinctly, this is the rock star result. People walk out differently than how they walk in. I like to use visual metaphors. So a turnstile is, people walk in and then they walk out and they're different in some way. So I also like to ensure that folks have a clear leader, a clear number, a clear objective, and a clear deadline with this rockstar result. So you're going to actually write an invitation, when you're writing your book that actually articulates what it is that people get in this end experience that gives them this rock star result. I also like to have a before and after or a bucket list moment, right? So people can identify how their lives changed after it was that you entered into their orbit or universe, right? A very easy example of this would be people who want to write a book but have never been able to do so. If they work with us, the before and after moment is before they met us, they didn't write the book, and then after they worked with us, they did, right? So there's a very clear line in time that people can identify that delineates the difference between working with themselves or by themselves versus working with us. All right, transformation trigger is simply a new paradigm, process, or perspective your book brings that leads to an aha moment or an insight that excites your audience to want to learn more, right? And the transformation trigger is quite the examples I like to give, something like the keto diet, right? I mean, I grew up with a parent my dad was a doctor, and when I was growing up, he banged into my head that eating fat, let's say, was a terrible thing, right? We have a history of heart problems in our family. My dad has had a heart attack, so when I was a kid or even a young adult, he was constantly telling me to avoid fat, meat, all that sort of stuff. But when I started reading books on ketogenic diets, it was like this complete different thing was triggered in me, like, all these people have a different perspective that may actually solve a problem that I have, which is I want to be in better shape, or I want this, I want that, from the standpoint of my own nutritional, kind of my own lifestyle, so to speak. So, you want to actually offer a new process or perspective or way in which to look at a problem in the world that your audience has. You want them to like really be excited about exploring more with you and what it is that you offer that's different. All right, commit to more than one. Really important. The procrastinator's paradox is when you actually commit to more than one, you don't feel overwhelmed. Like people think that's ridiculous to say, I'm going to write 3 books when I can't even get one published. But it's actually the reverse equation. When you commit to doing more than one, it actually simplifies the one that you can't get done, right? Because you give yourself this extra rope in which to say, I have more books coming down the road, and I'll tackle this in my next book, right? Very, very simple. My dog is actually having a choking fit over there. All right, you okay, buddy? He's fine. All right. Okay, so let me just make sure I covered that before Doobie started choking. All right. Okay, so let's really quickly look at, and I'm not going to cover all of this here. If you're interested in writing a book, you can reach out to us, mindfulmarketplace@gmail.com. Our next cohort starts in a few weeks, but I'm going to cover really quickly the 4 types of books that I like to recommend people start with for their first book, especially if you're following the entire process map that I laid out a moment ago. A Q&A book is the absolute easiest book in the world to write. That is not an overstatement. They are helpful books. People love Q&A books. I just had a client or someone I was on the phone with the other day who's writing a book in the Buddhism genre, and the book that she has targeted as the book that is most ideal or that she wants to emulate is actually a book of complete Q&A content that's like it's like Buddhism for beginners or something like that. And the whole book is just question and answers. Like the author states a question and then answers it. The next page posts a question, answers it. The book has almost universal good reviews. It's one of the best-selling books in that genre, and the most of the reviews comment on the fact that they love the Q&A format. Q&A books are great. They're easy to write, and if you really want an extra industrial grade cheat, go to answerthepublic.com It will list all the questions that people are asking in your niche right now, and you simply answer them, and you have your book. You take 50 of the top questions, and you just answer each one, and you show how smart you are in your own area of expertise. And it's the perfect bridge book to write because people will want to work with you when they're done. All right, a lecture book. Same thing. I mean, you just take lectures or workshops and transcribe them. If you're doing this sort of thing as a coach or webinars, etc., you can just transcribe these, and they are wonderful books to put out. You don't even have to like have a workshop or a lecture to transcribe. You can just say you do. And this is actually like a built-in out if you're struggling, if you're not a good writer and you're struggling a little bit. This is a fantastic way of just saying, hey, this was a workshop, so it's going to be written in a little bit of an unconventional way, but people in my community really benefited from it, and I thought you would too, so I turned it into a book. Some of the books that are most quoted and commented on as life-changing are lecture or books that were essays or talks given by gurus or spiritual luminaries of one type or another. There's a book called Awareness, which which is all the time referenced by people like Tim Ferriss and all these really popular authors as the single most important book they've written, let's say, or they've read in the last decade. The book is entirely, it wasn't even written, it was just spoken. The guy was talking, and I've read the book. I like it. I don't think it was quite as good as some other folks did, but his lectures were just transcribed into a book. All his books, and I forget the gentleman's name, were done that way. Some of my favorite books, there's a great book called I Am That, which again is a meditative sort of spiritual book in the kind of Buddhist or Hindu, philosophy. The book is it's just questions and answers and lectures that were, or talks that this one particular man gave to small groups of people that were transcribed. It's a wonderful book, and it's very easy to do this sort of book if you aren't somebody who loves to write. All right, old way, new way books frame everything you teach, preach, or share through the prism perspective of contrasting it against another way that doesn't or no longer works, right? The old way of doing X was this, the new way is my way, and this is my upgraded or improved approach to this particular problem. Overcoming Objections book. Again, I love these. They're so easy to write. And you can just take an objection that people in your audience have. Let's say if it was the keto diet, you might say, I'm afraid of getting heart disease. And then you would just answer that objection in that particular chapter with a clear, kind of explanation of why, or at least from your perspective, I have no idea if it's true or not, that, that a high fat or a ketogenic diet doesn't actually, like my father taught me, cause heart disease. I have no real, at this point, I don't know. But, those sorts of books are very easy to write. That much I do know, regardless of the content. One of the books that when we asked our community, our mindfulness-based community a while ago, what one of their favorite books was, it was a book written by the podcaster and TV broadcaster Dan Harris with another meditation teacher. And the favorite, I think it was called Meditation for Fidgety Skeptics or something like that. And the most popular reason that people in our own little community said they liked that book was because they identified challenges or objections that people had to meditating, and then they helped folks overcome those objections with the content in each chapter. All right, and finally, this is my proprietary sort of system, but I've been talking about this for a decade. It's called Launch It with Less. You have an introduction, a core concept, a single exercise, questions and answers, common challenges, small ask and big ask, and you're done, right? So it's really a very simple 7-step process for writing a book that actually that's effective, right? And it's also used for teaching courses. I've had tons of people actually go through use this heuristic or template for creating content. All right, and lastly, like I said, I'm not going to do some of the rest of this, but if you're interested in writing with us uh, in August, reach out to me. You can either take this little mini course with us. I'll have a link to it below, but you can also just send me an email, mindfulmarketplace@gmail.com, and we'll help you get your first book published in 30 days as part of a small group cohort. We're doing one of these a month. The next one, like I said, is in a few weeks in August, and you'll literally have a book published while watching us write a book together over the course of 30 days. So not only will you get your book done, you'll see us doing the same thing that we're promising you can do. You'll see us do too. Therefore, you're not being bullshitted by some, guru gimmicky kind of nonsense that doesn't actually work, because we're going to publish a book with you and you'll see that being done in real time. Okie doke, teach what you know, do what you love, wake up the world with your work. If you're interested in writing with us, like I said again, just feel free to reach out to me, mindfulmarketplace@gmail.com, and I'm happy to discuss the process with you further. Thanks so much, and as always, have a wonderful night.